Hello, I'm just going to play something for you that you might never have heard before played on this instrument. Those were two sequences that I have never been able to play that fast. And I've only just begun. You know, I've been practicing for 2 weeks, and this is some of the results from those 2 weeks. But it's going to be much faster in the future, I promise you, because there's no limitations anymore. It's as easy as sweep picking or, legato or whatever. And that's really my criteria for whether I've found a solution to stuff or not. So, what is this about? Well, for 30 years, I've been trying to come up with a way of sequencing triads. And triads are just, simple arpeggios like an A minor or a C major. Because those structures of notes, they're so far, between each note in the arpeggio, so it's really hard to come up with some kind of 3-note per string shape or, some kind of technique that allows you to sequence the arpeggio. We can sweep pick them. We can go from the lowest note to the highest note in no time, right? That's no problem, and it's an amazing technique, sweep picking. Just gives this aggressive, this dramatic, and then down again, right? But what if we want to go like, we want to take a sequence, a scale sequence like that, and, just play it, instead of playing it in a scale with 7 notes, I want to play it in an arpeggio with only 3 notes. But the problem there is if I try to do that using any of the, patterns I find out there, any of the methods that are out there, it's not really possible. You could go, if I have to play, I could go, 4 down from the top note, then return to the not so top note, the note before the top note, and play 4 down, then return to the 3rd note and play 4 down. So it's basically a very classical sequence. And if I have to play that in a sweep picking shape, it's of course not any help that I have this, two notes on the lower strings and then 1 on each in the middle and then 2 on the high string. That's no help when I go, and it's all picking, it's all on the right hand here, and it's relatively impossible, if not impossible, to do it fast. So what do? Well, then there's Paul Gilbert's string skipping shapes, right? And that's also very good, but let me see if I can do 4 down and then return to the other note and do 4 notes down again, right? So that was 4 notes down in a triad arpeggio. Then I return to this, and go 4 notes down again. But then I just ran out of fretboard or notes. I go, and also I'm ending on my first finger, and I have to go up and play the next note with my first finger too. So this shape, Paul Gilbert's idea, is amazing. All these ideas are amazing because they are focused on one kind of thing. So you can do some stuff with it. With the sweep picking shape, you can do up and down, which is amazing, of course. And you can't do that with my little idea here. Not as fast anyway. And with Paul Gilbert's string skipping idea, some sequences become very, not easy, but playable. And it's a nice idea. But if I want to play, or I want to play, but I want to do it within an arpeggio, it's impossible to play fast. So this has been a challenge of mine for 30 years, and I really never actually dreamed of ever solving that challenge because I thought, okay, you have so many things on this instrument, it's amazing. There's all the pedals, all the stuff you can do, all the different sounds you can utilize, all the techniques that all have something to offer. It's amazing what you get with this package of playing guitar. But that little thing there where I see piano players just take just an A minor and then go la all the way down because they have 1 finger per note, right? So they just do it. It's not that much harder than doing a sequence within a scale, but it is on a guitar. But that has all changed now because 2 weeks ago, I just, 30 years of little pieces of ideas just came together into one basic and very simple idea, actually. And suddenly, I just looked at this way of laying out the notes and the technique I came up with, and then I said, oh, that's pretty good. But I was just expecting to find yet another way of playing arpeggios that would give me some new stuff, the ability to play some new sequences, but not the classical ones. But then I played one sequence within it, then I played another, then I said, oh my God. And then I pulled out all the classical sequences I could find and said, it works for all of them. And that is actually the truth here, that this method, this simple method, I haven't been able to find a sequence that I cannot play with this method, because it dissolves the problem that we've had by laying out the notes in a completely different way. When you lay out the notes in that way, what will happen is that you need to use some different techniques, or it's really the same techniques, but it's just combined in a different way. So we have to learn some things that are they're not in our system already. But I've been practicing this for 14 days now, 2 weeks, and I'm amazed by the results. So, and instead of making a program, because I could have waited 3 months and then just practiced, right, until I was at the level where I really think that I can go out and say, okay, here it is, here's the program. But instead of doing that, because I'm so excited about it, I just wanted to, make a little bit now, sorry, and then after 4 weeks, I would make a little bit, practicing for 4 weeks, and then make a new program with new sequences. And then for another, I can practice for 2 months in this way by giving you 3 different segments. And I can take you by the hand, while the idea is still fresh and new. Because there's no doubt that when you master this way of playing arpeggios, there's a totally new foundation for creating neoclassical compositions that will just blow people's minds. And I promise you, because we've never heard the guitar play these kind of sequences before, and when you have ultimate freedom to play and create any kind of sequence, instead of having to rely on the old or blah, 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 up and down like that, or whatever you've heard out there. Instead of having to rely on, you also every time have to, I'm just so incoherent right now because, but what I wanted to say was that instead of having to choose a sequence that fits the instrument, you can hear stuff in your head, or you can do what a violin does, or what that saxophone does, or that trumpet, or that piano. You can do that by using this little system, and that's the whole revelation. That's the whole thing here. So I hope you'll check it out. And as I mentioned before, we do these 3 different portions, and if you jump on the train and say, okay, I've got to see this, then you can just buy into the first one. And if you're disappointed, just write me back and say, this is not for me, or this is totally not what I expected, which will not happen. But anyway, if you think that way, then you can just get your money back right away. You have 30 days of money back guarantee, 30 days to check it out. Then you get the next portion, right, of new, in the beginning we're going to focus a lot on the techniques and the shapes and everything, but then in the second portion you get a ton of cool sequences, and you can just, and you purchase that automatically because it's a subscription model, right? And so you get that. But if you don't like that, you can just say, okay, I want my money back for that one. So you only have the first part. So it's a completely risk-free involvement here, and the price is relatively low compared to some of my other huge programs. So I urge you to follow me on this journey into something absolutely new and fresh, and or I'll just see you in the next video. This was all for now. See you. And thanks for listening and watching.